Can't wait till I get home so you can tear that cherry out. Turn that cherry out. Turn that cherry out. I want you to turn that cherry out. Turn that cherry out. I want you to turn that cherry out. Turn that cherry out.
Hey T Squad, are y'all ready to get into my favorite books of 2024? This is one of my highly anticipated videos every year at the end of the year. I have a ton of autobiographies that I read and a few fiction novels. So let's get into it in no particular order. One of the books that I loved this year was Rita Moreno, a memoir. If you do not know who Rita Moreno is, she is a Hollywood legend and one of the few performers and the only Hispanic to win an Oscar, Grammy, Tony, and 2 Emmys. She won Best Supporting Actress in West Side Story. She starred in movies like Singing in the Rain and was considered the Hispanic version of Elizabeth Taylor. In the autobiography, she reflects on her career, her relationships with Elvis Presley, her encounters with Howard Hughes, and the passionate romance with Marlon Brando that nearly unalived her. Baby, when I tell you their relationship was so ghetto and he did her so wrong, okay? So wrong. So if you love old Hollywood and want to know anything about some of your favorite old Hollywood stars, I would suggest you read Rita Moreno, a memoir. Next up, I have Britney Spears, The Woman in Me, which was read by Michelle Williams with an introduction by the author. If you were born in the 80s or the 90s and you got to see Britney Spears from the beginning of her career to where she is now, then this is the memoir for you. We get to learn everything about her very tumultuous childhood, the beginning of her career in the Mickey Mouse Club to becoming one of the biggest pop stars ever, her relationship with Justin Timberlake and that whole fiasco, to her mental breakdown, to her ending up in a conservatorship. We learn everything about her, and you really get to understand how and why she is the way that she is today. It was very informative. It left me feeling very sorry for her, because even though she had all the fame and the riches in the world, there was really nobody in her life to protect her. So this book was just so good. Michelle Williams did a great job narrating this book. I think she captured the essence of Britney Spears perfectly. This is a must-read autobiography. From Here to the Great Unknown by Lisa Marie Presley and her daughter Riley Keough came out almost towards the later part of 2024. As soon as it dropped, I was on it. I love to learn anything about Elvis Presley, Lisa Marie Presley, or her mom, Priscilla Presley. Unfortunately, Lisa Marie Presley passed on here recently, and before she passed, she had begun writing her autobiography, and her daughter felt that it was best that she be the one to finish it. And I'm so happy that she did, because I learned so much about Lisa Marie Presley that I did not know, especially about her childhood after her father passed away and all of the things that she went through. I knew that her and Priscilla Presley had a contentious relationship, but I didn't know that it was to the extent that it was. And this book really did not paint Priscilla in the best light as a mother. But unfortunately, Lisa Marie went through so much. She struggled with addiction and depression and loneliness, and she just had a crazy life. She really honestly did. She went into full detail about all of her marriages, including her marriage to Michael Jackson, which she kind of got duped in the end, which was unfortunate. She details the passing of her first and only son, I believe, which was crazy because, spoiler alert, after her son passed, she kept his body in her home for like a month before she buried him. Yeah, crazy work. But I can honestly see myself doing the same thing if, God forbid, something like that happened to my baby. But This book was extraordinary. It endeared me to Lisa Marie Presley even more, and it just made me wish that things could have been different for her. I also want to note how this book really detailed the deep love that she had for her father. It almost came across as if when Elvis passed, she died too that day. It seemed like she was a daddy's girl through and through, and I honestly feel like she felt like her father was the only person that really truly loved her. This year, I really went into a deep dive wanting to learn as much as I could about the legendary actress Ava Gardner, and especially her relationship with Frank Sinatra. And I'm so happy that I came across this book, Frank and Ava in Love and War by John Brady. This book detailed both of their their childhood, how they got into acting, how they got together. And when I tell you, baby, they need to do a movie on Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner's relationship. It needs to happen immediately because we thought Whitney and Bobby was a mess. Oh, baby, 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 baby. Frank Sinatra was like just head over heels smitten in love with Ava and vice versa. They were the loves of each other's lives. Mind you, he was married when they got together. But one thing that I really learned about Ava Gardner is that Ava Gardner was the original bad bitch, okay? She would teach these girls nowadays how to reel in a man and have him wrapped around your finger. I mean, she gave Frank a run for his money. She kept that man on his toes. She was the type of chick that you make her mad, oh, no worries. She's about to be on to the next one and in the next man's bed and having the next man take care of her, and she gonna do it out loud in public. Ain't no hiding, none of that. And she had these men going crazy, including Frank Sinatra. And I love that they stayed in each other's lives until she passed on. And even when they weren't together and he moved on and got remarried after they divorced, he continued to send her flowers and take care of her. Like, their relationship was crazy. Check this book out if you want to learn how to become a bad bitch like Ava Gardner. Next on my list is the autobiography by Victoria Gotti, This Family of Mine. Yes. I mean, a lot of us know Victoria Gotti because of her father, John Gotti, and her reality show in the mid 2000s, Growing Up Gotti, that featured her and her 3 crazy, rambunctious sons. Well, I love all things mob. Anything that has to do with the mob, I am here for it. I've read so many different novels, watched so many documentaries and films, and I decided this year that I really wanted to learn more about how it was to be the daughter of John Gotti. And Victoria Gotti did not hold back in her autobiography. It was so dope to get a peek inside her childhood, how it felt growing up to be the daughter of this notorious mobster. She detailed how it felt when her father got locked up and everything, her first marriage, which was tumultuous. Like, she went through it, okay? She went through it, and she was gangster. She was gangster, you know. She was the it girl in that world. So she had a lot of pressure on her and a lot of eyes on her coming up. She also discusses how she and her family felt when Sammy the Bull basically snitched on her father and how they felt about that whole entire situation, which was, ooh, cha. And she details her divorce and life after that, the reality show, all of that good stuff. I've always been a fan of Victoria Gotti. I feel like she's a classy broad. And if you love anything mob related and you want to get an insider look on the Gotti family, check this book out. Now, you know, if I read Victoria Gotti's book that I had to read Karen Gravano's autobiography titled Mob Daughter. A lot of you know Karen Gravano from the hit VH1 reality show Mob Wives. I was a huge fan of Karen on the show. And I don't know why I didn't read the book back then when she released it, but I read it this year, and oh my God, it was so good. Oh, it was so good. She detailed everything from her childhood to the way her father's childhood was coming up, to her dating life, her being a rich girl, her hanging out with people she shouldn't have hung out with, how it felt, when her father got locked up and when he snitched. She did not like that. How her family became public enemy number one after that. They were called rats and stuff like that. And how she got with her baby daddy and how it was frowned upon because he was black. And her starting and doing mob wives. I mean, Karen details everything. Her relationship with Lee, and it was way more serious than the way Drita and them led on the reality show. She also talks about Drita in the book. And yeah, it was good, y'all. It was so good. Check out Karen Gravano's Mob Daughter now. Next up, we have Parachutes, Book 1, The Fall by Takira Allen. Takira Allen is one of my favorite authors of all times. I think her pen game is impeccable, and I tell her this all the time, even though we're in the same genre, and most people would think we were in competition, but girl, no. Like, I bow down to thee. She is a beast. And she's also, if you do not know, the half-sister of the legendary Tupac. But last year, she released Parachutes Book 1, but I waited until this year to read it because I wanted to read it right before Book 2 dropped, because I love her work so much that I don't want to read one book and then have to wait a year for the next one to come. So I tried to make sure that I read part 1 close to when part 2 dropped. And I'm so happy that I did. This book took me on an emotional roller coaster. The main characters are Dalvin and Tali. This book takes place in the beginning of the early 2000s when they met, and we go on the journey of these two meeting and falling in love and the ups and downs of their relationship, going into marriage and parenthood. And right when Tali thinks she has her life written out, everything is picture perfect, the shoe drops, and boy does it drop, honey. Okay, you're gonna be gooped and gagged. Takira knows how to explore the parallels of love, of infidelity, jealousy, friendship, family, forgiveness. Like, I just love the way her mind works, and I love Dalvin and Tali, baby, because if I had a man like Dalvin too, child, who Lord knows I'd be somewhere in the corner shaking too, just like Tali. So check out Parachutes Part 1. Part 2 is out right now. The only reason why Part 2 didn't make it on my list is because I'm not done reading it. I'm trying to savor it. I'm like in the middle, and I'm trying to not read all of it until I know that Book 3 is about to drop. Another one of my faves, Rayleigh, released For the Night, a Sun series bonus story from the Sun series. Baby, okay, I love me some Rayleigh. This young lady pen game is insane, okay? Ever since I read her first novel, Saving Sunflower, I have been hooked. I love the quirkiness in the way that she writes, and her storytelling is unlike anybody else that I've ever read. And in this book, we are introduced to Anthony Nunez and his love interest, Venus Thibodeau. This book is just so, I don't even know how to describe it, but it takes you on this ride, okay? It feels like it's summertime, the roof on the drop top is back, and you're just riding on the freeway with these two people and this relationship that grows between them. Baby, Anthony Noonie, Lord Jesus, bless me with a noonie. Cause look, girl, I wish this man was real. I wish this man was real. Okay, because he had me at hello. Okay, you looking for a book, bae? Noonie is that dude. I love me some Paris Hilton. I am a huge fan of Paris Hilton, have been ever since the early 2000s. So when I found out that her memoir, Paris, was coming out this year, I had to read it. And I'm so happy that I did, because it gave such an in-depth view of who Paris Hilton really is. And we thought, of course, that she grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth and that she just had it so easy and she just lived this rich socialite life, which she did. But oh baby, did it come at a cost. She lived a very dark and tumultuous life from the moment her parents decided that they couldn't handle her and they decided to send her to a school for basically troubled kids, where in the middle of the night these random men come into her room, wake her up in the middle of the night, and basically lock her up and take her away from her family. She's crying. She doesn't understand what's going on. And she's sent to this school called Provo in the middle of nowhere. And it's a nightmare. It really, truly is. She's drugged. She's raped. She's beat on. And she suffers through this for years because the school tells the parents beforehand to not believe anything that the kids say because they just want to come home. And she was actually telling the truth. I still to this day don't even understand how she's able to forgive her parents for all the stuff that she went through. But Paris had it bad. Like, this, her story honestly could be a whole television series. It was that insane. But we got to go through all of that with her, the simple life, the arrest, the relationships, and we learned so much about Paris. You know, we grew up thinking that she was like this, basically a slut. And we find out that it's really not like that with her at all. She didn't have it easy. And to see her be the woman and the businesswoman that she is now is just amazing. But this is a must-read memoir. You guys, check it out. A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston by Robin Crawford is up next. Now, this book came out a few years ago, and I don't know why I didn't read it when it came out. But I'm so happy that I took the time to sit down and read it this year, because I've watched so many different documentaries and read so many other books and things on Whitney Houston. And I feel like Robin's book and Bobby Brown's book really showed us the real Whitney. I will say Robin's book obviously even more so than Bobby because she was around longer. But it's sad to me because it's like Whitney never even really had a chance from the beginning. The way that she was raised, the strictness from her mother, how her mother was so hard on her, and everything that she went through, the drug addiction, them being drug addicts together, her and Robin, and their sexual relationship that they had in the beginning, and Robin being her right hand in the beginning and then kind of being forced out when she no longer wanted to live that lifestyle with Whitney, with getting high and all of those things, and how when she left, it seemed like everything really went downhill after that for Whitney. But if you want a really in-depth insight on Whitney Houston and her relationship with Robin, oh baby, Robin tells it all. Robin tells about Whitney's relationship with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy played in her face. Do you hear me? Oh my God, he played in Whitney's face. Oh God, just wait till you read it, okay? She really gives and spilled the tea on a lot of things, including sissy ass. Yeah, she really goes in depth because her and Whitney was getting high as a kite together, okay? High as a kite, okay? Literally going to crack houses and all types of stuff to get this. Just read it. Read it, read it, read it. If you're a fan of Jersey Shore, then you must read Mike Sorrentino's biography, How I Overcame Addiction, Loss, and Prison. Reality check, making the best of the situation. Honey, Mike had us all fooled during that first run of Jersey Shore. Okay. Now I knew that they was drinking and having schmecks and orgies and all of that type of stuff, but had no idea that this man was a full blown pill popper during that time, and to the level of pill popping that he was doing. Like, he was doing the cocaine and all types of stuff. Like, he was out of control with his schmug habit. And the fact that he was able to keep it a secret from the roommates and stuff, the producers ended up finding out certain things. But oh my God, it was crazy. Like, he was a full blown addict. Okay. Full blown addict. He details how he and Angelina met. Him and Angelina met way before the Jersey Shore. They actually went out on a few dates with each other. He suggested she be on the show. He details how the Jersey Shore came about, and he was the first one on board. And it took a few years for it to even take off and like come into production and them filming and all of that stuff. He talks about how he met Lauren, the love of his life, his wife, and everything, how he got clean. And I mean, Mike was involved in some mess, okay? Involved in a lot of mess. He details when he went to prison, that whole situation. Honey, but the schmug addiction is what really got me. This was a phenomenal autobiography. Next up, we have Elvis and Me by Priscilla Presley. This book is old. It came out, I want to say, like maybe in the 90s, early 2000s. Don't get me to line. But this is an autobiography on Priscilla Presley's life. She takes us all the way back to her childhood, how she met Elvis when she was 13 years old and he was stationed where she lived overseas, how they started dating, how she would fly to the US to spend time with him. She had to get permission from her family to do so. He wouldn't have schmecks with her until she turned 18, but they did everything else under the sun, child, when she was underage. Okay, it was very creepy. He would take photographs of her. And he was, of course, cheating on her with other women, but she was so head over heels in love. Elvis was a real kind of weirdo, okay, because he had no business messing with a teenager. Okay, a teenager. And what was even more weirder is that once she and him did, make it official in the bedroom, and she had their daughter, he no longer saw her desirable. I think that once she became an actual woman, he no longer desired her like that. She details how he was the one that got her hooked on pills when she was a young girl under the age. Like, the whole thing was just so bizarre and weird. She details how he got physical with her a few times, and one night when he even raped her. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. She details when she left him and his passing and everything. Child, Elvis Presley was a mess. Let me tell you something. A mess. And he needed to be locked up. All right. Jackie, Public, Private, Secret. This is a autobiography by J. Randy Taraborelli, who is a New York Times bestselling author of Jackie, Janet, and Lee. Honey, woo! If you are enthralled with the Kennedys and the Bouviers, this is the book for you. I am a JFK Jackie stan, okay? I've read so many books throughout the years. I pretty much watched every documentary that you can think of, every movie, everything involving them. But this was one of the most in-depth looks about Jacqueline Kennedy that I think I have read to date. Jackie was a snake, okay? Jackie was a snake, okay? Jackie was a snake. She did her sister Lee so wrong. She snaked her sister twice with JFK and with her second husband, Aristotle Onassis. Baby, Jackie won ish, okay? She won ish. JFK was over there taking her through. When I tell you, he was bold with it too. real bold with it. She this book details when she lost her son right before JFK passed, his infidelities, how she grew up, how their mother was overbearing and basically like a tiger helicopter mom, where she was all about who you gonna marry to, you know, be in wealth and prestige, and her mama was a gold digger pretty much. Like, this book was so good. It talked a lot about, you know, how it was for her after JFK was assassinated, how she dealt with all of that, moving out of the White House and having really bad spending habits, which left her pretty much almost broke a few years after his passing. And that's why she married Aristotle Onassis for money reasons, how it was being married to him, how his children didn't like her. It details so much. I don't want to give a lot of it away, but this was very enthralling. Worthy by Jada Pinkett Smith. Baby, when it came out earlier this year, it rocked the internet. It rocked the blogs. It rocked social media. Everybody had something to say about something. I loved this book personally. I really am happy that we got to really learn about Jada Pinkett Smith, okay, from her childhood, growing up with a mother who was addicted to drugs, to growing up in Baltimore, her friendship with Tupac, which was very up and down throughout the years, her other relationships, her becoming an actress, her selling schmugs, to how she met Will, how they fell in love. And a lot of people, it's so funny to me, that says that, you know, she don't love Will and she used Will and she treat Will so bad. If only y'all knew. Baby, that lady was in love with that man, especially in the beginning of their marriage, okay? She was in love, trying to prove her love to this man. She also detailed, you know, when she went through her crises, if you want to say, in her 40s, the breakdown of her and Will's relationship, the separation that they went through, and her doing ayahuasca and really coming into her spirituality. And what brought them back together was the slap heard around the world at the Oscars. And it just details a lot about her. A lot of key things stood out for me, especially when she talked about her relationship with Tupac and how they weren't even on speaking terms when he passed away, which was very, very sad. But she detailed so much in this autobiography. It was so in-depth and just so good. And I'm so happy that she wrote it, because after reading Will's book and then reading hers, their relationship made even more sense to me. And lastly, we have Be My Baby by Ronnie Spector. Yes, if you do not know who Ronnie Spector is, she is a soul singer from the 60s. She was in the group The Ronettes, which she was the lead singer. Their hit song was Be My Baby, Baby I Love You, and Walking in the Rain. She eventually ended up marrying their producer, Phil Spector, and in this book she details their marriage and how controlling he was and how jealous he was, how he kept her locked up in their home, how he did not really push her career, how she was able to bounce back on top after she finally divorced him. She detailed having their children and everything. Like, it was so good. Like, I learned so much about her. It has been in talks that Zendaya is going to play her in a film. I know that she said she wanted Zendaya to play her. I think Zendaya would be the perfect person to play her. Unfortunately, Ronnie passed away in January 12th, 2022. But I really hope that this movie does come about, because we all know, or if you don't know, Phil Spector, her ex-husband, ended up going to jail for murder. He was a real true crazy person, really truly crazy. He ended up passing away from coronavirus disease in 2021. But child, like, she was trying to tell folks that he was crazy when nobody listened. Her book was so good, and she details the friendship that her and her bandmates, which were her actual family members, sparked up with the Beatles, and how one of the Beatles, I won't say which one because you'll have to read about it, really wanted to be in a relationship with her, like really wanted to be with her. And it makes me wonder, and I know she had to wonder, like, what if she would have gotten with him instead of Phil? Like, how would her life have been different? Like, it's so crazy. Check out Be My Baby by Ronnie Spector. T Squad, hopefully you enjoyed my list. Please check out these books. Let me know if you've read any of them and what are your opinions on them. And also let me know down below in the comment section what were your favorite books of 2024. Please make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your post notifications so you know my videos drop. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.